My sister-in-law took my first baby's life and was still invited to our next pregnancy announcement. Max and I met on a blind date 5 years ago. Honestly, I was super hesitant about such a date, especially because of all the horror stories I had heard. But the second I saw Max, all of those fears went away. He was charming and attentive, and he made me feel like the only girl in the room. He was extremely observant, noticing little things like how my eyes fluttered when I tried to flirt or how my lips pouted when I liked something. At some point during the date, however, he mentioned jokingly that his family were a little crazy, and I made the mistake of not taking it too seriously, and instead chuckled and said that we're all crazy in our own ways. Fast forward 2 years later, I was walking down the aisle, ready to call myself his wife. Oddly enough, our wedding day was the day the very first problem in our relationship presented itself. I had never met his brother's girlfriend Rebecca before this, and so the first time I saw her, I was wearing all white and had my makeup done. This was after Max and I had said our vows, so I was still on my serotonin high and had even drank a little, so I danced my way over to Rebecca and introduced myself. She was wearing a dress that was sort of close to white, but given I'm a non-confrontational person, I wasn't going to say much about it. I went to hug her and say hello, but she actually pushed me away and made a disgusted look. She told me I was embarrassing myself, and that being the center of attention doesn't suit me. I kept on dancing, however, and that's when she told me I was lucky Max had such low standards, because if Max was more like his brother, he would have slapped me for even thinking I had a chance with him. Now, I'm not sure why you would brag about how your boyfriend would hit a woman, but either way, I kept dancing and honestly just ignored her, and I'm positive this was why she did what she did. I don't know if she had some underlying mental issues or something, but she came back a few minutes later with a glass of wine in her hand. She threw it at me and completely ruined my wedding dress. She then randomly blurted out that she knew how badly Max and I wanted kids, and how she hoped I never had any. It was so random. Why did she hate me like this? I wanted to cry, but at the same time, I didn't want to draw attention to myself and ruin my day. And so, I composed myself, went out back, called a friend of mine, had her bring me a regular spare white dress, changed into it, then went back out onto the floor and continued dancing. I wasn't going to let negative Nancy ruin my day. In fact, I was so determined not to let her ruin my day that I didn't even tell anyone what she did. I now know that was the wrong decision. You see, not long after our honeymoon, Max and I decided to start trying for a baby. We had been wanting one for a very long time, and now that we were married, we were ready. I got pregnant a few months later, but then disaster struck. I miscarried after Rebecca accidentally tripped me up and I fell belly first into the stair railing. I should have been furious, but I truly believed it was an accident. My bump hadn't even started showing and Max and I hadn't told anyone. Looking back on it, I feel like she somehow knew. She kept asking these cryptic questions and pushing me to drink a beer with them. Either way, it was devastating. And what made it even worse was that after our next doctor's visits, they ran some tests, and it was concluded that it was very unlikely I'd get pregnant again. That day was the first time I ever saw Max cry. We never told anyone what happened, but the next time I saw Rebecca, I remember she was extra smiley and kept dropping these messages and quotes about loss and losing things and how hard it can be. I still don't know how I didn't put the two and two together. She was the one responsible for the death of my baby, and she was so proud of herself for it that she joked and laughed about it to my face, all while I had absolutely no clue. But then a few months later, the universe smiled down on us. I got pregnant again. I still remember how Max and I reacted. He was crying, I was crying, he was on his knees kissing my belly, and before I knew it, he was calling in sick to work so he could take me out to eat. My baby needs food, he said looking at me, and this baby needs food too. He kneeled down and kissed my belly again. Fast forward a few months, Max and I hadn't told anyone, and we hadn't seen anyone from either of our families either. But we had something planned. With the help of my best friend Amy, we managed to put together a beautiful nursery for our baby daughter. And after reaching the 12-week milestone, which felt like a significant achievement, Max and I decided it was time to share our news with our families. We organized an intimate dinner at our home and invited our loved ones under the pretense of a casual get-together. Nobody suspected what was coming, and we were incredibly excited to witness their reactions. But unfortunately, there was one problem. Rebecca was coming, and what she did is something I'll genuinely never forget. I couldn't finish the full story. It is on my channel and linked below.